From the All Indiana Podcast Network.
The All Indiana Podcast Network.
This is the News 8 Daily 8.
Now the latest news.
Kylie Conway has all the news you need to know.
And more.
Please stand by.
Now, here's Wish TV's Kylie Conway.
Hi, this is Kylie Conway, and this is the News 8 Daily 8 for Monday, June 22nd. Fortnite, one of the world's most popular games, has reportedly removed police cars in its latest season as protests against police brutality have erupted all across the country. The Wall Street Journal was the first to report the news, and then multiple users on Reddit also noticed that had changed in the game. CNN Business reached out to Fortnite's developer Epic Games, but didn't immediately hear back. Police cars in earlier versions of the game were decorative. They were for decorative purposes and couldn't be driven by players. That's according to the Wall Street Journal. Now, Epic Games regularly releases new Fortnite seasons to keep players engaged, but the rollout of the most recent season of the game, which was released last week, was briefly delayed because of the widespread protests and outrage over George Floyd's death at the hands of a police officer in Minneapolis. And NASCAR drivers rallied together today and pushed Bubba Wallace's 43 car to the starting line at Talladega's Geico 500. It was a big showing of support. This was one day after NASCAR says a noose was found in Wallace's garage stall. Wallace is the only full-time black driver in NASCAR's Elite Cup Series. After the drivers got his car to the starting line, they gathered around it to show the world they stand behind him. 2 weeks ago, Wallace successfully pushed for NASCAR to ban the Confederate flag at its tracks and properties. NASCAR said it has launched an immediate investigation into the noose. The series says it was outraged and said there is no place for racism in NASCAR. Wallace says he was saddened but undeterred. The Trump administration is designating the U.S. operations of 4 major Chinese media outlets as foreign missions in an action that could force some of their journalists to leave the country. The State Department announced the action today. It says 4 outlets will be required to submit a list of everyone who works for them in the United States and then release any real estate holdings. None are being ordered to leave right now, but a similar action did take place in February at 5 other outlets that had preceded a cap on the number of people who could work for those organizations in the U.S. The 4 include China's state-run CCTV and the People's Daily newspaper. Now to the coronavirus. Cases in Florida surpassed 100,000 today. It's part of an alarming surge all across the country, mostly west and south, as states there reopen for business. And a lot of Americans are just not wearing masks or keeping their distance. Some public health officials are warning that progress, one after the months of lockdowns, could be slipping. And hospitals in areas seeing those upticks in cases are warning that intensive care beds were filling up again and urging communities to do what it takes to control any new outbreaks. An Associated Press analysis of data compiled by Johns Hopkins University finds that new daily confirmed coronavirus cases across the country are now up to more than 26,000 a day. That's up from 21,000 a day just 2 weeks ago. And U.S. existing home sales plunged 9.7% last month. It was the third straight monthly decline and further evidence of the harm that the virus pandemic has done to the housing market. The National Association of Realtors said today that the May decline pushed sales down to a seasonally adjusted annual rate of 3.91 million. That's the slowest pace since the home buyer's tax credit expired in October 2010. Sales were down in all parts of the country, with the biggest decline coming in the Northeast. The University of Notre Dame is projecting a more than $100 million revenue shortfall for the upcoming fiscal year. It's in part because of the outbreak. In a letter sent to Notre Dame staff, faculty, and students last week, University President Reverend John Jenkins and other top administrators cited financial aid expenditures, flat endowment payout, lower auxiliary revenue, and projected lower levels of philanthropy. As during the fiscal year that begins July 1st. It says Notre Dame expects the financial challenges to hurt its budget for the foreseeable future. The South Bend Tribune reports the university already was expecting a shortfall of $44 million for the current fiscal year. And now to the latest Indiana coronavirus numbers. The state health department confirmed 13 new deaths today. There are now 2,363 deaths related to the virus in Indiana. Another 277 people have tested positive. That brings the total number of cases to more than 42,600. All right, new technology announced by Apple and Google in April is now making its way to smartphones. The technology allows smartphone users to track COVID-19 exposure. So here's how. First, you have to download a separate authorized public health authority app that can send exposure notifications. Once you opt in for that, the feature exchanges random Bluetooth identifiers with other phones of people who also have that feature turned on. If you've come in contact with somebody who is positive for COVID-19, you'll get a notification about what to do next. And here's one to just lift your spirits a little bit as we close out the Daily 8 today. A 100-year-old woman in northern Indiana who has lived through World War II, survived cancer, and successfully battled her way back from a bout of pneumonia last year, learned earlier this month that she's also a survivor of COVID-19. Lenora Martin of Elkhart found out a week before her birthday on June 13th that she had tested negative for the virus after being diagnosed with COVID-19 in April. She was one of 76 residents at her assisted living facility to be infected. She and her twin sister, Delora Bloomingdale, who lives in California, celebrated their 100th birthdays together as centenarians via Zoom. This has been your News 8 Daily 8 for Wish TV. I'm Kylie Conway, online at wishtv.com, and follow us on Facebook when you search Wish TV.
Check out more podcasts from the All Indiana Podcast Network now at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.
allindianapodcastnetwork.com.